Cancel culture has been a growing phenomenon for years, but in 2020, it seems to have reached new heights. Cancelling is a public act of condemnation and withdrawing of support from something or someone seen as problematic.
We wanted to know if cancel culture is a destructive force within the creative industries or if it could actually be a catalyst for change. So Lucy, of course, you're a writer, broadcaster, psychotherapist. You drew an interesting parallel between Melanie Klein's splitting theory and cancel culture. Can you just explain that to us, please?
Yes, Melanie Klein was a psychoanalyst and she was largely known for the work that she did with children. And what she observed in children is that they're very black and white. So if mummy is the mummy that stops you having ice cream before bedtime, then you get very angry. But that mummy is still the same mummy that kisses you goodnight. Now, a similar thing is happening in cancel culture, which is that exponents of wanting to deplatform people or to cancel things that have been said cannot appreciate that the person who is saying this thing or has written about it could conceivably be a good person. There's no scope for nuance or ambiguity. So I think it follows a very similar primitive way of operating in the world.
BBC was what you aim for, and to get on there, you had to water down what you do, and I did that, and a lot of acts did it as well.
So, Konstantin, obviously, you're no stranger to controversy around cancel culture. Trigonometry podcast obviously addresses some issues that, let's say, people are less than willing to talk about normally in the arts. So how do you think cancel culture is affecting creativity within comedy?
It's become very bland, and I think you know that, and your viewers know that. The numbers are dropping off massively. And look, I've written for some of these shows, and I know what the process is like from the inside. The moment you suggest anything that's got any edge to it at all, that doesn't get anywhere near even the person making the decision at the top, because it's already filtered out at the very beginning.
Isn't it the job of creativity to push boundaries? Do you think that this cancel culture could affect it?
It is the job of creativity to push boundaries. That's part of the job of a creative person, is to challenge the audience, not just to, particularly in my job, not just to preach to the choir, but to try and challenge them. And so, consequently, it is possible to talk about these things, but you have to think about the context of it. You know, if you're dealing with material that you know is going to be provocative, you've got to be clever too. If you're creative, you should be clever. You shouldn't be going in with a sledgehammer and hitting people over the head with it. You should be able to sort of draw them into a space where you can suddenly, when they're relaxed, you can suddenly introduce in the same context of whatever's helped to relax them. You can bring that in and make them think rather than make them angry.
I always maintain that there are three things that human beings want. They want to feel safe, they want to feel loved, but ultimately they want to feel heard as well. So if you are being cancelled in that way and your voice isn't being heard, your ideas aren't being discussed, it actually feels as if you have been invalidated as a human being.
The right to say what you want to say, whenever you want to say it, to whoever you want to say it to, with no comeback, that's not the definition of freedom. That's the definition of Donald Trump's Twitter feed. You need not just the right to say what you believe, you also have yourself to respect other people's right to say what they believe, equality. But most importantly of all, to get a real balance, you need accountability.
So, for or against? Is it even as simple as that? Without a doubt, cancel culture is a polarising topic. And with such a huge spectrum of opinions changing and evolving over time, what does it all mean for the future of creativity?